the beaches of South Florida. And welcome everybody to the former site a while back of a football stadium that doesn't exist anymore, but it's Marlins Park. The Rockies and Marlins getting ready to face each other for the first time this year. Rockies enjoyed a day off yesterday. The Marlins did not have a day off. They were up in Washington playing a four-game set. Not all yesterday, but it was the conclusion of a four-game set, and they lost 3-2 yesterday despite a Giancarlo Stanton two-run home run. Charlie Blackmon getting ready to go. First thing, Miami has to take the field. They've failed to do that. They got back really late last night, though.
Maybe that's what they're doing. They're still trying to figure out what time this game starts. They landed about 3 o'clock coming in from Washington. A lot of the guys I talked to said they got to bed about 4:15, 4:30. So they're just trying to squeeze every minute they can before first pitch.
John Gray getting fist bumps. Here's the Southwest batting order for the Rockies tonight. Blackmon will lead it off naturally. Then it's LeMahieu and Arenado. That hasn't changed in forever. Gerardo Parra has been batting a lot of cleanup and been doing a great job, really, wherever he hits in the lineup. Mark Reynolds will be next, then Cargo, who's hit pretty well down here in South Florida. Jonathan Lucroy will bat 7th. Trevor Story will bat 8th, and then John Gray. Rockies are facing Jose Urena. And Urena is a guy that has won 10 ball games, which is really neat considering from the Marlins perspective. At the start of the year, he was working out of the bullpen and he didn't have any options left. There was a question about whether he was going to even make the club originally, but he's been very good.
Yeah, they've always liked his arm, but they weren't quite sure where he was going to be able to squeeze into the rotation or even into the bullpen. Opponents hitting .225 against him, right-handers .230, left-handers just .219. In his last 2 starts, a 1.29 ERA for Jose.
Well, his last 2 starts, he's given up 6 hits in 14 innings. He's been tough to handle. He's a very good athlete. He moves well off the mound. Here is the alignment defensively behind him. In the outfield, Stanton naturally is in right field. Yelich was moved late last year to center, and Donnie Mattingly said, you know what, I kind of like that. So Osuna, who was playing center originally, has been moved to left field. And they're comfortable that way. That is one of the more dynamic outfields in baseball. Dietrich's at third, Rojas, Miguel Rojas, the former Dodgers, at shortstop. D. Gordon at second. Tomas Telis is at first, and he's probably tonight in baseball, the 15 games taking place, he's got to be the shortest first baseman. He's 5'8". And that guy may be the best athlete among catchers in baseball, JT Realmuto.
The Marlins have a very fine offensive team. Part of their problem this year has just been their starting pitching.
Of course, they, as we all know, baseball, not only the Marlins lost Jose Fernandez last year. Then they went out and they signed Edison Volquez, who had a no-hitter, and then his elbow was bothering him, and they discovered that he needed Tommy John surgery. So he's gone not only for the rest of this year, he's gone for all of next year in all likelihood. First pitch is in there at 96 for a strike on Charlie Blackmon.
And that is going to be about the average on the fastball for Jose. Throws it 54% of the time. Watch it, Charlie. Also will complement the fastball with a slider and changeup.
1 ball, 1 strike on Charlie. He was 0 for 3 to start the day on Wednesday. By the time the ball game ended after 12, he was 3 for 6. 3 straight hits, and of course the home run in the 12th. Let's take a look at our Mako big hit. We go back to Wednesday late in the afternoon when Charlie went deep. That happened with 2 outs in the 12th inning, and the Rockies would go on to win 3-2 as Tyler Chatwood, second career save, a 1-2-3 12th inning. That slider's down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
For Jose, he's a little more comfortable to his arm side. So for the left-handers, most of the time the fastball be running away from them. Right-handers will try to climb into the hands.
Charlie fouls off that pitch. It was another slider. He also operates from the extreme first base side of the rubber.
But that's why he's better arm side, because if you're not, if you're a better glove side, you'd be more on the third base side. You just feel comfortable being able to reach out there on the left side to a right-handed batter.
Another 2-2 from Urania, and there's that run off the plate at 97, 3-2. Roof is closed tonight at Marlins Park, and a walk leading off the ball game for Blackmon.
Gonna come back from down 1-2 to work that walk. That was walk number 40 on the season for Charlie.
Now to bring up LeMahieu. DJ had a base hit in the 12th inning. He was 1 for 6 on Wednesday. Charlie's 9 out of 15 swiping bags. DJ also on Tuesday had one of the 3 hits the Rockies produced against Corey Kluber in losing that gut wrencher 4-1. That misses, ball 1. Home plate umpire is the crew chief. Jerry Davis is back there. Andy Fletcher's at first. Pat Hoberg is at second. Tony Randazzo is at third.
It's kind of a tough combination to try to run against with Jose. The plate, he's pretty quick, as you mentioned, Drew. He's a great athlete, but JT behind the plate, one of the best pop times there is in baseball. It's below 1.9.
There's a strike, 1-1. And that pitch is hit to Stanton in right. He'll retreat. And Charlie, who was moving, will head back to first. So there's 1 out, and that'll bring up Arenado.
This is the first time that all 3 of the guys in the top of the Rockies lineup have been back in Miami since that All-Star game here. Even DJ, even though he didn't play, he did take a little bit of batting practice that second day right before they played the game.
And the reason DJ didn't play, it wasn't he got squeezed out by you know, the manager. It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the fact that he had the groin injury going in. So it was more important at that point to rest. 2-strike count now on Nolan. Rockies have lost 9 of their last 12 to the Fish. This is a team that the Rockies in the last 10 years have really struggled with. They have not won a season series since 2008 against Miami.
Yeah, that year in 2008, the Rockies went 5-3 against Miami.
Skips up there, no advancement with Charlie there. Gerardo's on deck.
That skipped up there and then skipped off the shin pad there of JT.
At Marlins Park, the Rockies are 6-12. This is popped up and in foul ground. Real Muto will make the catch. 2 outs. Folks, join in on the conversation. Send us your thoughts, photos, questions. Use Twitter or Instagram at AT&T Sportsnet RM. And don't forget to use the hashtag Toyota Talk. So with 2 outs, Charlie's still at first base. Here comes Gerardo Parra, who has the best batting average here in South Florida of any Rockies at .310 at this ballpark. This is a tough place to play, I think, for an opposing hitter for a couple of reasons. There's a lot of visual distractions. And
yes.
There's a lot of distractions around Miami. I understand where you're going with that, but it's not only that. It's they don't draw well. Let's be honest. I mean, there are sections that are empty, and you know, you go from Cleveland, which had a nice atmosphere, the Rockies atmosphere they're so familiar with at home, where there's 40,000 plus people every night, and you come to Marlins Park, and it's like a library.
Kind of like blah. Yeah, they might get 13, 15,000 tonight on a Friday night. And it's just not a whole lot of energy. So you got to create that yourself. But you're right. Just, you know, the big distraction out in the left center field. I mean, I know it's some Art Deco. I get that they're trying to incorporate a little bit of the city in here. But it's just different. You just don't see that anywhere else.
The Marlins have won 5 of their last 7 at home. Here's something you may not know about the Marlins this year. They got off to a miserable start. They had a terrible May. But if you go back to the latter part of May, because they won a few ball games late. If you go back, in fact, to May 30th, they're 46-30 for Don Mattingly since then. And that is one of the top marks in the National League. Dodgers, you know, have them beat. But they're 16 games over 500 over the last 2+ months. There goes Charlie, and that's fouled off.
Well, they had 20 losses in the month of May. Now, that's hard to recover from. You're just swimming uphill the whole time.
Outside now, Charlie will be off. 3-2 on Parra.
And that was a changeup from Jose, because he can vary his changeup speeds from 87 even up to 91. Well off the Subaru strike zone.
25-year-old from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. And this ball is lined to center field, but Yelich will get there, and that will be all for the Rockies in the first. Blackman reached on a walk. John Gray will be on the mound at Marlins Park when we return. Rockies will watch John Gray work tonight. It'll be his 11th start of the year, and his last two have been very, very solid.
Well, and I think that's something to build on because both of them have been 7 strong innings. You go back to that Washington start where for the first 4 innings of that affair, he was perfect. Then he gave up the couple home runs in the 5th and then settled right back down again and was scoreless the last 2. So 7 innings, 4 hits, 8 strikeouts, and then against Philadelphia was probably even better because he pitched a lot of that ball game with just his fastball. Also had 9 ground ball outs in that Philly game.
So stepping in is D. Gordon, one of the fastest men in baseball, takes a strike. D is hitting .294. He hits well at Marlins Park, .326 in his career at home.
Yeah, I think this plays it right into his hand because it has a fast infield. So he's just thinking about trying to get the ball down on the ground. He's not trying to elevate it at all. He has 133 hits on the season, 111 singles.
Well, when he gets on base, it could be a double quickly with the speed. 2 balls and a strike.
But that's why he does it that way. Because when you're 40 out of 50 and stealing bases, you better not hit the ball in the air.
That's a no-no. That's in the air, and Trevor Story does not have to move. 1 out. Let's take a look at the Southwest batting order tonight for Donnie Baseball. Giancarlo Stanton, since the 3rd week of May, has hit in the 2 spot, and that has worked out well for him. It's worked out well for the Marlins. Christian Yelich will bat behind him, then Marcell Ozuna. It's a tough top portion of the lineup. JT Realmuto is a good offensive player as well, just under 300. Then Dietrich Talise Rojas and the pitcher Urania. That first pitch misses outside on Stanton. Stanton hit a 2-run home run fairly early in the game yesterday in Washington, but the Marlins could not make it hold up. As I mentioned, they lost 3-2. And then Stanton fouls off that pitch. He's having a terrific year from a power standpoint. 39 home runs, which is career best. He's on pace to hit more than 50.
He's closing in on the Marlins season record, which is 42 by Gary Sheffield.
And Sheffield's the only player to eclipse the 40 home run mark for the Marlins. He's hit 17 against Colorado pitching through the years. Gray's ahead 1-2. Slider hit to the only guy on the right side, Mark Reynolds. That was off the end of the bat. Good slider by John Gray. 2 outs. Let's take a look at the Rockies with the gloves. Parra, Blackmon, and Cargo in the outfield. Reynolds made a great pick to close that 12-inning ball game after a fantastic play by Story in Cleveland on Wednesday. One of the better wins for the Rockies in 2017.
Yeah, you could kind of bookmark that one. There's a few you can bookmark, but that one after the heartbreaker the night before. Come back and to show some resiliency, score a run in the top of the 9th inning.
Yeah, that almost gets lost when you win much later on. You know, a 12-inning game, but the Rockies, you're right, they had to score a run to keep going in the top of the 9th.
Well, and also too, when you know that your top 3 guys, the way it's set up now in the bullpen, were also down that day. So there was a lot of other guys that stepped up. Carlos Estevez, Chris Russin.
Again, Chris Russin.
Yeah.
Curveball for a strike, 1-2.
And then of course Tyler Chatwood to close it out.
Tyler did a great job.
Yeah,
He pounded the zone and in an unfamiliar role. 1-2 on Yelich. And he gets blown away on a fastball. That's a great start for Gray. Weak contact from Gordon and Stanton, and then the strikeout of Christian Yelich. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by the 2017 Toyota Tundra in your hometown Toyota stores. By UC Health, live extraordinary. And by Southwest Airlines, yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Always good to be in South Florida, especially indoors when it's scorching out. A lot of rain yesterday. Kind of a cooler day by August standards. Today was pleasant again by August standards in South Florida. Here's Mark Reynolds leading things off in the top of the second inning. He fouls that pitch back. Mark's hand's feeling much better. Great to get a day of rest. I was asking him today how he did it, because he had 3 peculiar plays within like an inning, and he said, I'm not sure.
I just know after the second one where he had to dive into first to make that play. I think that was the one of Jose Ramirez, the one that glanced off the glove and then he swung over there.
This ball lashed to left center field, and it is going to be cut off by Yelich. Reynolds will take a wide turn. A very good play by Yelich. Good angle to the baseball. That prevented a double. Rockies have their first hit.
Yes, the hand feels better because it's a left hand that was hurting him, and that's one you'll pull through with on the bottom. Takes the top hand off, scorches this one to left center field. Yelich doesn't cut it straight across, because if he does, that goes to the wall. He gave some depth, created an angle, and Mark did the right thing. Run as hard as you can, make the outfielder stop you.
You talked earlier as Cargo steps in, the fact that his fastball works arm side typically much better than glove side, which means right-handed hitters are going to look middle in.
Yes.
And lefties like Cargo are going to look middle away.
Exactly.
And that was away. So it's 2-0.
And it's a little bit too where even the changeup is going to go down and into a right-hander. It'll go down and away to a left-hander. The slider obviously is going to go to the back foot of the lefty and away from the righty. But at least you have 2 pitches kind of on the same similar plane in the same action.
Last time Urania faced the Rockies was 2015. He did twice. He pitched well against the Rockies. Cargo's got a home run against him. And this ball is in the air to Yelich in center. One gone, and that'll bring up Lucroy. Let's not forget the hit Jonathan Lucroy got. We were talking about that 9th inning. A double to drive in Cargo, who had singled, and that's how the Rockies tied it.
Well, the Cargo also running the whole way from first. Jonathan Lucroy coming through in his career against Miami as well, .315 average.
Lucroy takes down and in, ball 1 at 97. Lucroy's catching John Gray for the first time tonight. One for 4 lifetime against Urania. League hitting just .213 against Jose. He's got good stuff. 2-1. See the movement there on his fastball.
His whip this year 1.19. For his career, it had been up to 1.36.
134. 1.34 is the average in 2017. It's gone up a hair this year. 2-2. And 3-2.
I think they might start Mark on this 3-2.
Urania not a huge strikeout guy, even though he's got the big velocity.
Yeah, 79 strikeouts in 114 in the third inning coming into tonight.
He's going, and it's a base hit through the right side off the glove of Talise, and Reynolds will go to third. Good call, partner. And Jonathan Lucroy stayed back on that pitch and lined it to right, first and third, with Story coming up in 1 out.
Well, because he doesn't strike out a lot of guys, you can feel confident that Jonathan's going to put the ball in play, and he does. And it helps that you have a first baseman that's 5'7", because that went off the end of his glove. If he's 5'9", that's a double play. But inside out, because you know the runner's going, just stay inside the ball. Jonathan does, and now you got first and third, just 1 out.
Well, we always say it. A lot of big at bats seem to find Trevor Story lately, where a productive out will get the job done. He takes ball 1. Story trying to drive in his 50th run of the year.
Well, where Urania has some problems too, it is with runners in scoring position. 284 batting average against.
One ball, one strike. Can't say enough about Story's defense this year, man. He has been fun to watch. 1-1 inside. Good
Well, all different kinds of plays too. It could be to his right, jump spin throws up the middle. And that one to end the game the other day was pretty spectacular.
On both ends, because Mark Reynolds made a great pick. Two balls, two strikes. With the addition of Lucroy, you're going to see more of this, where Story's batting 8th. As Jonathan, an accomplished hitter, it lengthens out that lineup, where Jonathan slides into the 7th spot. Whether it was Tony Walters or Ryan Hannigan, they were almost always hitting 8th. Now it's full, 3-2. And this is another situation where, and Trevor strikes out a lot, as we all know. Do you start Lucroy here?
I don't.
Maybe not.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it on this one.
Especially with Gray up next.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You would hate to kind of
strike
run
him
yourself,
out, throw him out, and then you're starting with Gray next inning.
Yeah, and Trevor hits the ball on the ground, has a chance to beat it out anyway.
Not going, and swung on and missed. So Story strikes out, and that's the 2nd out. That'll bring up Gray. First strikeout of the ball game for Urania.
Change up on the Subaru Supremo, a circle change, turns it over. That was a pretty good location and downward action there.
Now, Gray's helped himself on previous occasions. Home run, 3 driven in. 0-1. Rockies so far in the month of August has played 8 games. They're 5-3.
A couple blown saves in those 3 losses. They've been playing pretty well.
Dietrich at third, and that'll end the inning. So the Rockies at first and third, 1 out, did not capitalize. Middle of 2, no score in South Florida.
Colorado Rockies. His name is Ryan McMahon. Recently called up today, so a couple roster moves in order. Sam Moll was sent for a designated for assignment, but we love a good call-up story, so nobody could tell it better than the player himself.
I'd made a base running error like the night before or something, so of course he's calling me. He's like, man, we have got to stop doing this with you. You got to stop doing this. And he let it on for a good 5 minutes. I'm sitting there, I'm like, come on, Gio, like, I get it, I messed up. And then he dropped it on me. So it was cool how he played it up. I called my mom, called my dad, my grandparents, both sides, and it was crazy, you know, feeling the support from them and everything. It was a whirlwind of emotion, and I was just excited.
Ryan's mother, Tracy, is in attendance. His dad, Jim, had to stay back because his brother has a big football scrimmage tomorrow. So hopefully he'll be able to make it sometime out this weekend or just catch the team in Denver. As I mentioned, Raimel Tapia was optioned down today. Sam Moll designated for assignment, and Ryan McMahon will be wearing number 1. Bud Black also expects him to play some first base, second base, and third base. Guys?
Spilly, you could probably help out with this story a little bit. Ryan went to Modern Day. His younger brother, who's quite a quarterback prospect, as this is a good fastball pass, Marcelo Zuna, 0-2. His little brother's going to Servite, and those are rivals, right?
Is that what he went to the rival?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
Because I guess Modern Day had 2 quarterbacks already there that Southern Cal's recruited.
Quarterback controversy, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
I think it's pretty cool that the dad's staying behind watching his brother play a big scrimmage game. So props to the family. I know Ryan was saying that his biggest supporters, as we heard in that soundbite, his family for driving him to all the different practices. And as always, it's not just mom and dad. There's always coaches to thank along the way. So I'm sure we'll give thanks to all of them for him.
Base hit up the middle for Osuna, first base runner of the night for the Marlins. John's dealt with that a little bit this year. 40% roughly of the leadoff men have reached against John. That's a number you'd like to see go down considerably. 23 out of 57. Here's Real Muto.
Talk about an athlete. This kid coming to the plate right now.
He was a great high school quarterback also in Oklahoma.
Yeah, led his club to a 5A championship.
High school shortstop, another guy who's been converted to behind the plate. Seems like guys get converted to two areas where it really becomes newsworthy if they make it eventually. Guy who gets converted to becoming a catcher and a guy who gets converted to becoming a pitcher.
In the case of Kenley Jansen, he was a converted catcher to a pitcher.
That's right. Osuna takes off.
That's a balk. That's a balk.
Yeah.
Doggone it.
Step off the back, and
He
unfortunately he flinched the shoulder.
Yeah, I also saw the left knee flinch. Just watch. So Osuna takes off. So if you could step off the back, it's not a problem. But the flinch, and you could see it and called immediately from Jerry Davis. It's about as easy a balk call as you'll have.
Realmuto, one of the fastest catchers in baseball. Two strikes.
And as you said, he was a shortstop in high school, and it ended up catching just an inning or two back there. The Marlins said, if we draft you as a catcher, you want to sign? He said, sure.
From Midwest City, Oklahoma. See if Gray can get a strikeout here. Ahead 0-2. Slider, and he did.
Wow. That might have been his
Yeah, I think that's his curveball.
At 80 miles an hour.
Second strikeout, and now Derek Dietrich coming up.
Just working on the velocity at 80. Oh, yeah, that's curveball. Perfectly spotted up. JT, and then blocked nicely behind the plate by Jonathan.
Here's Derek Dietrich, role player last year. This year he's had to start quite a bit because of the injury to Martin Prado. Turns and fouls this one a long way.
We started a lot early last year. Remember when Dee Gordon was out, when he was suspended, playing some at second base, leading off. But then when he came back, then it was a spot start here and there. Same thing until they had some injuries on their on their infield. Primarily Martin Prado.
Prado had his knee scoped. He could return this year. Osuna base hit and was balked to second. First balk this year on John. Pretty good curveball there.
He's got a good feel for it.
Seems to. He's worked ahead of all three hitters in this inning. Huey 0-2.
And that's something he didn't throw much of in his last start against Philadelphia. He worked primarily with the fastball. Had a few instances where it was a slider, maybe a curveball, but he had that going, so he didn't deviate from it. Tonight, I like mixing in the curveball. Wow.
1-2. I like where that pitch was, and it was a borderline strike on the Subaru strike zone, but it was a high quality pitch.
Fastball, slider, curveball, and I would say maybe 2 changeups tonight, but you see the curveball ratio going up more as the season wears on.
1-2, and he got him to chase on a curveball. Lucroy will get the out at first. 2 gone. We always talk what do top end pitchers do. They get better when they have traffic, and a lot of them also, Huey, have the ability to miss bats when their guys on base.
And Jonathan's calling for it because he recognizes the fact that it's a good pitch tonight. So you get the strikeout, you block it, the put out 2-3. So that helps. Because remember, this is the first time Jonathan's caught John Gray. It's not like there's a big, long history book here.
Talise bounces this foul. Tomas, 5'8", 220. Guy can catch. Plays several different spots for you.
Well, the regular first baseman, another guy's been hurt, Justin Bohr.
He has the oblique. He's not going to be back probably till September. 0-1. Cuts inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Let me correct something. Jonathan did catch on August 5th. Caught John Gray in that Philly game.
Okay, so second
time.
Second time.
Yeah.
Slash to Nolan. Great play by Arenado. Perfect throw. And that ends the inning. Osuna was standing on second with nobody out. And John Gray said, not an issue. He strikes out 2, and he gets Talise to end the threat. In the 3rd inning, they've had 3 base runners, no score. The Coors Light Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Clean and Crisp Coors Light. Nolan Arenado, 65 extra base hits. Charlie Blackmon, 64. They're 1-2 in baseball. They're on pace to reach 90 extra base hits. That has not been done since Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig in 1927, which is a long time ago.
Yeah.
90 years. I like the one in the open. Over the last 365 days, of the many ridiculous stats for Charlie, he's produced over 400 total bases. 2-0. He walked his first time up, but got stuck at first base. LeMahieu flew out. Nolan fouled out, and Parra hit a line drive to center that was caught. On the swing, 2-1.
Still wish he would get a little bit more recognition for the year he's having, though.
Hopefully that will come.
Well, it should. The Rockies are winning. 16 games over 500.
That ball's tomahawked to the corner in right, and this one hops out of play. It is the 65th extra base hit for Charlie. A leadoff Ground rule double in the third.
Tomahawked is the correct description for this. As he kind of gets up on top of this one. Really works from top to bottom. Change up, top hand comes over. This ball was roped and then hits off the hard dirt out there, skips into the underneath the concourse.
Not really a costly. Sometimes the ground rule double and there's guys in front can be costly. That wasn't.
No.
It was going to be a double either way. Stanton was going to field it off the wall and would have been the same exact result. DJ does his job. D. Gordon will throw out LeMahieu, but Charlie's now at third for the RBI leader in baseball, Nolan Arenado. Folks, when the Rockies score 7 runs in a ball game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day. Do it between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies taco special at Moss at Taco Bell. Think we'll ever get to a point in baseball where the hitter gets a non-plate appearance, non-at-bat for that, gets a sacrifice?
Probably not, but I think there should be some sort of recognition other than from your teammates and your manager. I mean, that's a baseball play. And Nolan's going to be able to drive in a run here, partially because of what DJ did. You know, the infield playing back, you hit a ground ball, he scores, but it also puts your ball club up 1-0.
2-0 on Arenado. Next RBI will be number 99. Already 50 pitches in for Urania. Urania, his first 50 pitches, has an OPS under 600. The major league average is 750. So his first 50 pitches of a ball game, he's tough. But 51 through 75 and 866 OPS, 75 through 100 or 76 through 100 and 850 OPS. So it goes up considerably. Here's the 2-1. And this will get the job done and perhaps more. Well hit right center field. It is gone or no? I think that's gone. That's gone. 2-run home run, Nolan Arenado. And now he has number 99 and 100. 2-0 Rockies. That hit the railing above the wall. That was blistered. Home run number 26 for Arenado.
And we talk about how hard it is sometimes to hit a home run here. They've moved the fences in, but that was mainly into center field. He was going opposite field the whole way. And now that's 392 feet where he took it out. And that ball was still traveling as it was leaving the ballpark. Now we kept watching up here and say, okay, that's going to get in, at least a double. And then it hits off that black portion of the wall on the Subaru Supermo, well above where the home run fence is.
Yeah, that's a little disconcerting.
Yeah.
Deceiving, you're right.
Well, I kept watching the first base umpire, Andy Fletcher, trying to tell us what it was. And finally, he signaled home run.
Well, initially, he signaled safe as it's ball in play. The reason I think we picked up on it, even before the twirl of the finger from Andy Fletcher, was that both Giancarlo Stanton and Christian Yelich just they stopped running after the ball. Parra lifts this ball to Stanton in right.
It reminded me a little bit of that ball in New York where Curtis Granderson knew the ball was out and he stopped running after it.
Still win the book as an inside the park home run for Charlie.
Yeah, because there's no challenge. There wasn't any reason to challenge it, but there is a little bit of space behind that wall. And it was hit so hard that it hit that wall and then covered that 1.5 feet, 2 feet of space back onto the field.
2 runs in, 2 outs. Here's Reynolds, and Mark pops it up to short. Rojas is there. So the Rockies, as we go to the bottom of the 3rd, have a 2-0 lead. And Nolan Arenado, who has led baseball each of the last 2 years in RBIs, leads again this year with 100. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Subaru. Love, it's what makes a Subaru a Subaru. By Lodge Casino, your first choice for fun. And by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets by visiting wellsfargo.com/Rockies. That aquarium is not inside some fancy downtown hotel. It's right behind home plate. Fastball strike 1 from John Gray, just off to the Rocky side of, actually they have one on both sides. They have one on the Rocky side, the home side, as well as the visitor side. That pitch is low. Miguel Rojas, 28-year-old from Venezuela. A lot of folks went fishing yesterday,
including you.
And Jacob's down here with me, my oldest son. We went out, and after the rain subsided, we were able to we caught a lot of bonitas.
Okay.
And we caught 4 king mackerel.
Do they bring them back here to the clubhouse then and cook them up? Is that what they're going to do?
After the game, yes, and hopefully we get a little bit. Mike Dunn, Jonathan Lucroy, and Zach Rosscup are with us. And actually, because you got to give credit where credit's due.
Sure.
Mike Dunn had the biggest mackerel. He had a king that did not fit in the cooler. It was like 25 pounds. It was longer than my arms can reach.
A fish story. But
well,
I was
really
there.
That way, I mean, if he was telling you it'd be a fish story, but I'm here to back it up. It was big.
So what was the biggest one you caught?
I caught only bonitas. No, they were decent sized. Jacob pulled in a king.
I know our director Mike Fox went out with the group, and he was sending some pictures back.
There were like 3 different groups that were out in the Atlantic yesterday. Charlie Blackman, on a day off, going fishing.
Yeah.
Charlie told me he caught a dolphin. Not like flipper.
Oh, okay.
Different kind of dolphin.
Different, okay.
Yeah.
Well, so did Mike Fox. That's the type of fish he caught too.
In Mike's group, somebody caught a barracuda. Mike Jasperson. Okay, it was true. Mike Jasperson, assistant strength coach, caught a barracuda. And actually, you know what? Mike showed me the pictures of that. And you do not want to get your fingers anywhere near that thing's mouth.
No?
No. Not.
There's Mike. It was Corey Little also in Mike Fox's group. Nick Parson.
Scotty Murayama, rehab coordinator. John Gray misses there, 3-2. Rojas leading off here in the third with the Rockies up 2-0 on the Arenado two-run shot to right center field. Blackmon, who had doubled, scored for the 103rd time this year. And Cargo coming, lays out, makes another wonderful catch. How many of those has he made this year? That one exactly where he's diving straight forward?
5, 6.
I mean, think you're right. I think it's 5 or 6.
Straightforward. I know he's done some to the side too, but the timing is impeccable on these, and it has to be. You have to know when to leave your feet as an outfielder, how much time you're going to have, and he catches us right above the ground on the Subaru Supermo.
Ground ball to short. And Story realizing
Get rid of it.
Runs hard. He has that reputation. You love that. I know he's a pitcher, but he just loves that. That tells me he loves to play.
Yeah, running hard. Trevor knew he had to get rid of it. But back to the catch for Cargo. There's nobody backing you up either. It's not like you're playing center field. If this ball gets by you, you know, somebody's there. Cargo lays out, and of course John Gray's going to love it, because you don't want that leadoff guy to get on where the pitcher coming up next, you can bunt him over. Instead now it's 2 outs. You go to the leadoff hitter, D. Gordon.
D hit a little flare to short in the bottom of the first. 2 outs, nobody on. Good spot, not called to strike. 2-0.
That's kind of where you want to put it on the Subaru strike zone. It was held an extra half a second by Jonathan just to let Jerry Davis know, keep an eye on that pitch.
In the air down the left field line. Parra, will he have room? No.
Careful on the
Ricochet almost hit him. Well, we've discussed that strike zone quite a bit, where it doesn't seem like east and west is being called as frequently, and the low strike not being called, I think, is consistently.
Yeah, that's where you always tell pitchers to pitch.
So you train them. 3-1. John's had impeccable control the last 3 starts. 20 strikeouts, just 2 walks. Overall this year, better than a 3-to-1 ratio, strikeouts to walks. Power pitcher with command. Good pitch. Rockies have so many guys, Huey, that have easy cheese, man. Easy heat.
Herman can go from 96 to 99. John, same thing. Antonio can get it up there.
Jeff Hoffman.
Jeff Hoffman, yeah. List goes on and on.
On the ground through the right side, a base hit for Gordon. And so Stanton will come up here in the third. This is an interesting, I don't want to call it a dilemma, but an interesting spot for a pitcher. You have one of the foremost power guys in the game at the plate. You have one of the foremost speed guys, you along with Billy Hamilton. Talking about D. Gordon at first base. They're 2 outs. You don't want to become so fixated on Gordon that you leave a cookie for Stanton.
That's why I think if you're John, I don't want to say you take your focus off of D. Gordon, but if you make your pitches to Stanton, you can get him out. And you don't worry about him possibly stealing second base. But if you try to slide step and you leave one up to Stanton, he's going to hit it 500 feet.
0-1, Gordon takes off, big jump, and this ball's lined to left for a base hit. And Parra is throwing in that direction.
He got him. He got him.
They absolutely got him. Gordon didn't get down despite Freddie Gonzalez coaching him up to do that. And Parra throws out D. Gordon. And that will end the inning. 7-5.
Strength of that man's arm right there, and Gerardo Parra. I mean, this ball was hit hard from Giancarlo Stanton, but watch how quickly now Parra comes and charges, gets a little short hop, and then a gun over to third base. But this is a lesson in not running the bases correctly. I mean, D. Gordon the whole way is kind of looking over his shoulder. Watch this. Freddie Gonzalez is trying to tell him to get down. He doesn't get down, and then a short hop and pick. Why is he looking over his right shoulder? But I'll take it.
There's never a level that you've ever been taught to look behind you.
That's what I'm saying, a lesson in how not to run the bases right there.
Yeah, that's costly. And a heads-up play by Parra, who has a terrific throwing arm.
That was a great tag by Nola, too, because he's trying to work around D. Gordon. Because that throw was kind of coming right on line in the same line, so he had to move around to his right. Nolan did to catch it and then make the tag on the back of D. Gordon.
1-1 on Cargo, leading off here in the fourth. 2-1. Cargo hit a ball fairly sharply to center field his first time up. He's hitting 15 out of his last 17. Cargo, Lucroy, and Story. 2-0 Colorado on the Arenado 2-run homer outside. 3-1. You know what's interesting? JT Realmuto is catching. He's their everyday catcher. For whatever reason, and he's a good young backstop, this ball is going to be handled by Stanton in right center field. When Urania pitches to Realmuto, he has a 4.35 ERA. When he pitches to A.J. Ellis, that's right, that A.J. Ellis, A.J. caught yesterday, played with L.A. for so long, he has a 1.99 ERA. It's a pretty big difference.
Huge difference. Some things you can't explain. Maybe it's just a setup. Maybe it's just been a couple games that he's caught back there. Who knows? But that is a big discrepancy between those two.
Here's Lucroy. Jonathan had a base hit, line drive off the outstretched glove of Tomas Talis, the first baseman. He takes a strike. Rockies at first and third with one out in the second, did not score. Urania struck out Story and got John Gray on a dribbler up the third base line. Lucroy's always been very philanthropic, very involved in whatever community he's playing in. Does a lot of work with the Wounded Warriors Foundation. They got him. What were we told before the ball game? That Urania will hit one or two guys, and it's not on purpose. It's just he has so much run on his fastball that he typically, comes close to or hits a right-handed batter each game, and that's the 12th time he's hit a guy this year. That's a lot.
Well, and the next closest guy on their team has 5. So it tells you he's got some run. John Lackey at 11, he doesn't throw as hard as Urania. R.A. Dickey, you'll take that knuckleball if it's going to hit you. Now, the other two guys might smart, and Arrieta and Scherzer.
No thank you.
Yeah. I'd take R.A. Dickey out of that group of 5.
Story slowly hit and safer out. Out at first base. Story by a smidgen thrown out. So Lucroy to second, and that'll bring up Gray. John with 2 outs. Stick around between innings. Don't go far. We'll have a little shorter break, and Buddy Black will join us on the other side from the Rockies dugout. Miami's been good when Urania's on the mound. They have won 12 of his 18 starts. And that is strike 3. So Lucroy's left at second, middle of 4. It's 2-0 Colorado. Buddy Black coming up in a moment. Nothing over the Marlins as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning in South Florida. 2-run home run from Nolan Arenado to right center field after Charlie Blackmon double. Kind of the way things typically work as we go downstairs. Buddy Black joins us from the Rockies dugout. Have you ever seen a guy who smells ribbies like Nolan?
No, I mean I really haven't. He has that ability to do so much with the bat head. He manipulates the barrel. He takes what the pitcher gives him. It's really great to see.
Yeah, John Gray tonight in his last start used primarily fastball. Tonight he's seen a couple strikeouts with that good curveball.
Good curveball, Yui, for sure. John's did a nice job of blocking as well, but I think the curveball has got great break to it tonight. So let's hope that he continues. I think it's going to be a good weapon for him the rest of the way.
Buddy, as always, we appreciate
thanks,
it. Good luck the rest of the way.
Okay, guys, thanks.
All right. So Gray's ready to go. Christian Yelich, Marcell Ozuna, and JT Realmuto, 3, 4, and 5 in the bottom of the 4th inning for the Marlins. Yelich struck out on that curveball that Huey was referencing a moment ago, and he gets get it over curveball to start the at bat. 0-1.
Almost on cue. Throws it first pitch to Yelich. We've seen this guy grow as a ball player the last 3 or 4 years.
Really gifted. When he was coming out of high school, he was rated by some publications as the #1 high school hitter eligible for the draft. Yelich and Nolan played together in travel ball with Matt Davidson, 3 big leaguers on the same team. Nolan said to me today, as if it was necessary, he goes, "We were pretty good." I go, "Yeah, really? Think so?"
Those 3 big leaguers.
And there were other guys who were in pro ball on that team.
Yeah.
Boy, there's a news flash. Thanks, Nolan.
We were good.
Well, I thought you guys would
wow.
be like a
500 team.
Yeah, maybe. You had a good weekend. Get a pool play, maybe get a game or 2 in on Sunday.
Yeah, maybe win a game. At least get that noon game on Sunday.
Yeah. I don't think they were playing too many 8 a.m. Sunday games, that club. Ozuna had a sharp single on an 0-2 pitch up the middle, his first time. And a good fastball. He's got that good fastball, too. He's got some hop on it. Ozuna, big, strong, friendly guy. He's really become an outstanding talent. Look at, that was close. 1-1. '85 RBIs for Ozuna.
Just last year they sent him out for a little bit to AAA. Take a look on that one. Just trying to slow down some of that service time is what they were saying. It was 2 years ago, 2015.
Yep. He played 33 games in New Orleans 2 years ago. 1-2. Last year he hit .266 with 23 home runs and 76 driven in. So he's eclipsed those numbers already. And the average over 300. That old outfield's homegrown. Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton. It's as good an outfield as you will find in baseball.
Just trying to get some of those homegrown products back in because their farm system's been depleted the last few years.
Well, there are reports out there today that this has popped up. Story, and I don't know if he sees it. Oh, well, it's off of Nolan's glove. To second.
Got him.
Out. And you know what? Ozuna is going to get a tongue lashing, I bet, from Donnie Mattingly, because there's no reason in the world, I don't think, that he wasn't already on second. We'll have to take a look at it, but that ball was up forever.
Yeah, and I think if Trevor had to do this over again, that he would call Nolan off on this. I mean, it was hit up there, and they're looking, and then there's some confusion trying to get out of the way, but Gerardo Parra, Johnny on the spot again. Ozuna's not running hard, puts his head down, doesn't see what's going on. Oh, I better get to second base. Well, by that time, it's too late. 2 base running blunders so far by the Marlins, aided in part, though, by Gerardo's left arm and the strong throws.
Second assist of the ball game. But again, as has been so often repeated, it's not hard to run hard 4 times.
Nope, not at all.
And even though you say, yeah, it's pop out, but you figure it's going to be an out 98, 99% of the time, you never know. Same thing with that routine ground ball to short.
more than anything too is, okay, you're mad, you're not running hard, but don't put your head down. You still got to keep your head up to see what happened on the play. By the time he picked his head up, then it was too late. But that being said, it's a couple freebies for the Rockies.
Goes as a base hit. That's strike 3, and that's the end of the inning. Just like that, John Gray is through 4. That is his 4th strikeout as he gets JT Realmuto. 2-0 Rockies.
In the top of the 5th inning, pointing out this season has been quite remarkable when you're looking at home runs. Not only is it pitchers giving up home runs, it's hitters giving up home runs. This season, as of August 10th, there's 115 players that have already reached career highs. That is remarkable. When you look at only 1999 having more players up to date, 121. I think by the end of this year, we're probably going to see even more records as the home run is going to surpass what it was last year. And just think about this. Nolan Arenado, 42 home runs is a career high. He has 26 right now. Charlie, well on his way to getting his career high as well. We're going to see a lot of career highs this season, boys.
Well, you're seeing more home runs. You're seeing more strikeouts than ever before. 9 years in a row, the strikeout totals in baseball have risen. Charlie is 1 for 1, a walk and then a double that took one hop off the warning track in right, went over the wall, and then 2 hitters later, Nolan did his thing with the 2-run home run. We talked a moment ago, started to talk about the fact that Marlins owner Jeffrey Loria has agreed, evidently, according to reports, to sell his franchise for $1.2 billion to a New York businessman who has ties to South Florida, in Bruce Sherman. I think there are 15 other investors, and one of those investors, Derek Jeter. I think Michael Jordan's in that group also, by the way.
But instant credibility in the baseball world. I mean, you're throwing Derek Jeter's name around. Even if he comes in as president, I think he'll do great things down here in South Florida.
Here's the 3-1. Well, you hit the nail on the head. Instant credibility. You're talking about one of the truly iconic, forget baseball, sports figures of the last couple of generations. And they've had success. World Series championship in '97 and also again in 2003. You were talking a moment ago before that pop-up and the ensuing out at second base that they had depleted their farm system. Well, Jeffrey Loria has known for a while that he's going to sell the team. They've been in contention the last couple of years till late, and they made some moves. That's a called strike 3. 1 out. They made some moves that cost them prospects, and then ultimately, you know, the players they acquired didn't put them over the top, because Miami has not been to the postseason since they won the World Series in '03. The only drought longer is that of the Seattle Mariners by 1 year. In Seattle right now, if the season ended today, would be in the postseason as a wild card.
That's been 15 years for Seattle. That's because they're on a little bit of a run. Seattle, they played well the last 25, 30 games, although they got some bad news today. James Paxton.
This ball's well hit to right. Stanton going back, still going back, reaches up at 6'7" and makes the catch. DJ looking out there. He hit that ball in the button.
They can't hit it much better than that. Stanton used to playing here. He plays this one perfectly, doesn't shy of the wall. And he goes back and turns nose. Right now, when he hit the warning track, he knew that he had 2 steps before he's got to brace himself for that wall.
No, I think it's the other way around.
The wall
was bracing itself for Stanton.
Probably.
Off the plate, ball 1 on Nolan. Home run for Nolan in the 3rd inning, just the 2nd he's ever hit at Marlins Park.
One of the few that he went the other way on, too.
Osuna makes the catch. Middle of 5. The Rockies lead it 2-0. Here's our CenturyLink high-speed challenge question of the night. Go to AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to cast your vote. We'll show you the results during the post-game show. What would you do with a day off in Miami? That's what the Rockies had yesterday. Go deep-sea fishing, hang by the pool, wink, wink at my partner, play golf, or go to South Beach. You actually did both.
Yeah, I did both. Went,
you did B and D.
Yeah, a combo. Had dinner on South Beach last night. Oh, so good.
A lot of good restaurants in Miami, particularly in South Beach. First pitch is a strike on Derek Dietrich. He struck out his first time up. 2-0 Colorado. John Sliders in the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Not to be lost in this game so far is John Gray in this 57 pitches, 41 for strikes. Been helped by a couple defensive plays out in left field by Gerardo Parra.
Gray changed the eye level a little bit with that fastball, more up and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is where he dropped the curveball on and struck him out in the 2nd inning. I'd go back to it. Throw down to number 2, Jonathan. Thank you.
It's almost like you hit the earpiece in. Ground ball up the middle, base hit.
You know what? It's still a good pitch. I know he got a base hit on it, but it wasn't a bad pitch from John.
Rocket Arms is brought to you by Quicken Loans. Road ERA by club, the Rockies are 4th. And that is still really good considering the last month and a half or so, they had not pitched until recently well on the road. They did against Washington. They did against Cleveland. But they had, their starters at least, had an above 6 ERA for an extended period of time after the first 2 months where they were just brilliant out on the road. Good curveball. Ball 1 on Tomas Tellez. Hit a slashing ground ball at Nolan. That ended the 2nd inning. John's thrown 60 pitches, 43 strikes. Jerry Davis says strike 1, 1-1. And he's thrown a first pitch strike to 12 out of 16 hitters.
This makes a difference for any pitcher. I don't care who you are if you have the fastball command. And you know, Jeff Hoffman's talked about it a lot. John's talked about it. You know, even if it's somebody that doesn't throw hard, they need to be able to command the fastball. It sets up everything else.
2-1. Tellez originally signed by Texas. He was part of the Sam Dyson deal. That's why he's now in Miami. He was signed as a shortstop originally.
Dietrich does not have a stolen base on the year, 1 caught stealing. The Marlins as a club, other than D. Gordon, they don't run.
They don't run. They leave all of it to D.
No, D has 40 of the 59 team stolen bases. Christian Yelich might be the other guy that picks some up. He has 10.
Two and 2.
Where's that?
Jonathan did a great job of receiving that baseball, and he stuck it.
I mean, look on the Subaru strike zone. It was in there.
What did we say earlier? They don't call the low strikes.
Dustin McGowan up in the Miami bullpen.
Urania 2 doors down, 5th inning. 2-0 Colorado. Leadoff base hit for Dietrich. He's going. And a ground ball through the right side. And it'll be 1st and 3rd, nobody out.
Tomas. It's a fastball inside. Just gets on top of it, but the big hole between 1st and 2nd just finds its way.
That will bring up Miguel Rojas. Jonathan Lucroy on the follow through the swing from Tellez got hit on the mask, I believe. He got hit the other day. Yep, he did. He got hit the other day from Francisco Lindor on a backswing.
Yeah, that was when Lindor was hitting right-handed.
That misses.
Was inside on the Subaru strike zone. Yeah, not by much, because that's where Jonathan set up. You were hoping you could entice Rojas. Try to swing at that, hit maybe a weak pop-up. Going back inside again.
On the ground to short. Rockies should get 2. They'll give up a run, but they get 2 outs, 2-1.
.124th double play the Rockies have turned this year. It's a pretty easy one. The couple 2 hoppers to Trevor. He made a good feed to DJ, and then the relay over to first.
That guarantees that Urania continues on. 2 outs, nobody on. To third. Nolan throws out the opposing pitcher in the inning. Couple of hits and a run. So the Rockies lead is cut in half. It's 2-1 going to the 6th. It's time for the Unlimited Baseball Break, brought to you by T-Mobile. Dexter Fowler had a go-ahead grand slam. Cardinals had a couple of slams the last 2 days. In fact, 3 in the last 5 ball games. Minnesota's come on. They've won 5 straight, just a half game behind in the wild card chase. A lot of teams involved in that in the American League. And Yohan Moncada, top prospect in all of baseball for the White Sox last night, homered to tie the game in the 9th, and then he won it in the 11th in his next at bat. White Sox have some intriguing young prospects. Gerardo Parra, he'll lead things off at the top of the 6th. Fly ball to center, fly ball to right tonight for Gerardo. 4, 5, and 6 for the Rockies with Jeff Houston and Ryan Spilborghs. I'm Drew Goodman. 3 games here, and then the Rockies will face the Marlins again in mid-September. A 3-game set at Coors Field.
Yeah, game 115, and you're finally facing a National League team in the Marlins. I mean, it's just weird that you go this long throughout the course of a season before you face somebody.
Well, there's another team, Atlanta, that the Rockies have not seen.
Yeah.
Only 2 teams left in the National League they have not played against. The Rockies are 11-9 this year against the National League East. Out on the road, they're 30-28. They're one of 6 teams in baseball above 500. And as all good Rockies fans know, the only time they finished above 500 for a whole season was in 2009 when they went 41-40 on their way to a franchise high of 92 wins. They have a very realistic possibility of eclipsing that mark with good baseball over the final 7 weeks.
With Arizona losing again last night, you're a game up now in the wild card.
One ball, 1 strike. Parra stayed off that pitch. 2-1. Milwaukee has lost 5 in a row. St. Louis has won 6 in a row. So
Well, yeah,
St.
when you
Louis
hit-
has flip-flopped in front of Milwaukee in the Central and in the wild card chase.
Well, when you hit grand slams. Last night was the first pitch Dexter saw from Neftali Felice. Right center field. Night before it was Molina left center field.
But the Rockies also now have a 6.5
Yeah.
game separation. On that next tier, if you will. Arizona ended up dropping 2-3 to the Dodgers. We saw the last 2 ball games they played, or a good portion of it. Being on the East Coast, we would watch those West Coast games late. Two, and Parra hits this ball high in the air, deep right center field. Did he clip it? You bet he did. Home run, Gerardo Parra, and the Rockies get the run back. It's 3-1 on the 9th home run of the year for Parra.
A 2-2 pitch. 51 RBIs. That's 17 home runs given up by Jose now. He waited back on this pitch. He knew it. He kind of had to put that bat up in the air like we've seen a few times. He said, wait a second, I might have to jog this one out. But no question, went in that first row in right center field. I think it was a slider, maybe a changeup that cut in, but it wasn't his fastball. So nice to get that run back too. Yeah,
Immediately, yes.
Immediately.
You know, John Gray's happy about that. Jeff Salazar, assistant hitting coach, visiting with Parra. Up and in, 1-2 on Reynolds. Mark a sharp single in the second. Little pop out to short in his next at bat. Ground ball cut off by Dietrich.
And RBI Baseball 2017 has fast-paced MLB action with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and more. Get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and your mobile devices. Learn more at rbigame.com.
Cargo, fly ball to center and a fly ball to right. Couple career home runs at Marlins Park. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cargo's got his family down here in Miami. Two and 1. You know who was on the field before, not necessarily on the field, but around the Rockies dugout, visiting with the team for a while during batting practice today, and it was so good to see.
Yes, it was. Yorvi Torrealba.
Yorvi Torrealba was here with his family and bear hugs to everybody, and this ball's bounced through the right side. Cargo with a base hit. Yorvi, he told us that he's grown the hair out a little bit. He said, it's easy now. He goes, I don't have the stress of an 0 for 20. That's his son immediately to the left of Yorvi. He's playing college baseball. Cooney, who's the Rockies massage therapist, on the left.
I was joking with Yorvi. I said, can you go out and throw out a hit tonight? He goes, oh, man. He goes, these guys are throwing way too hard now.
I tell you what, though, he brought life to that clubhouse, especially during those great runs in 07 and 09. And just today, man, he brought, there was a ton of life anyhow. The Rockies are excited about getting this series going with the Marlins, but he just energizes whatever room he's in.
It's a little bit like Gerardo and what they do.
Yeah,
they just bring everybody up.
Yeah, you're right on the money with that. I agree with you.
Wasn't Yorvi clutch?
Wow.
I mean, as you're going down the stretch, and it was 07, 09. I mean, he was the guy.
He was the guy. 2-0 on Lucroy. He was the guy who ended up, no knock on Chris Iannetta, but he ended up both those years taking over the everyday duties.
And it seemed like whenever you needed that one hit to whatever it was, come back, break the game open, he was involved.
Ooh, that's again a pitch that hits Lucroy. It's twice Urania has nailed Lucroy. He leads the National League in hit batters. We showed you the graphic earlier.
Just keeps chasing him in on the Subaru Supermo. There's nothing you can do as a hitter. You're trying to get out of the way. You're trying to turn your back, make yourself small, and you just end up wearing it. Well,
2 on, 1 out. Mattingly is coming out.
And it'll be Dustin McGowan.
Yep, Dustin McGowan's coming in. Rockies up 3-1. They have a home run this inning from Parra. Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. We are in South Florida, Miami to be exact. Rockies playing a weekend set against the Marlins. So far, so good. They're up 3-1, one out in the sixth inning. Pitching change for the Marlins. Urania is done, and Dustin McGowan is now on the hill. He's won a lot of games this year in relief. He's 7-1 in relief. League hitting .232 against him.
Yeah, the 7 wins are a career high for him. 57 2/3. Also leads the Marlins bullpen. And Washington a few days ago threw an inning, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs.
Story 0 for 2, a strikeout and a ground out. And he swings and misses at a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 on, 1 out. Cargo singled. He's at second. Jonathan Lucroy's been on 3 times, but it's been a painful night for Jonathan. He has a base hit in his last 2 at-bats. He was hit by Urania. Ball and a strike.
That was a slider from Dustin. Also will throw a changeup. But he won't throw it to a right-handed batter. It's fastball, slider to the right-handers. The left-handers when he'll mix in that changeup. Watch it.
Two balls and a strike on Story.
Jonathan says, I've had that happen to me twice, but they actually hit me both times.
Got a couple welts. Six hits apiece. 6th inning, Rockies leading 3-1. Gray on deck. And that is the 2nd out. John is grounded out and struck out looking. He's come up with guys on base in all 3 of his at-bats.
Well, 3 times. One of the guys has been Jonathan Lucroy.
Gray's primary job is to throw the baseball, and he's doing that very well again tonight. Rockies tonight have used the long ball, the 2-run home run from Nolan and the solo shot earlier this inning from Gerardo Parra.
You know, it's pretty nice. So what happens when they hit at least 2 home runs in a ball game?
They don't lose much.
Now they're 35-3.
Gray's hit a home run this year. Pretty healthy hack right there. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Huey, because records when hitting 2 or more home runs in a game since 1913. By winning percentage, the Rockies right now have the best winning percentage since 1931. 35-3. And John's gone. So the Rockies will carry a 3-1 lead to the bottom of the 6th inning. Gerardo Parra going deep for the 9th time this year. His 51st RBI. Welcome back to Miami, Florida. It's a pleasant day outside, nice evening. The roof is closed. Miami's always hopping, seems to be. I'll tell you what, every time we've come down here the last few years, there's cranes everywhere. A ton of construction going on. 3-1, the Rockies leading with my partner Jeff Houston and Ryan Spilborghs. I'm Drew Goodman. Top of the order in the 6th inning. That means D. Gordon, Giancarlo Stanton, and Christian Yelich. Gordon is 1 for 2.
This will be the 3rd look for the Marlins against John Gray. Batting average starts to go up some this time for John. On the season, it goes up to 360.
Outside with that curveball, 1-0. Gordon 2 years ago won a National League batting championship. Won a lot of awards in 2015. Gold Glove, Silver Slugger. There's a strike, 1-1. D came up with the Dodgers. And it's going to be a tough play for Gray. He didn't panic. He got him. Big man moved off the mound. John got there, and so many pitchers, Huey, panic with a speed guy. And he did not. And he made a quality throw to Reynolds.
Well, it's a good thing that he did make the strong throw. Because if he doesn't, this is like a bunt for D. Gordon. But you see how quickly, though, he got rid of the ball. Watch how quickly he gets rid of it, and he stayed pretty low and threw it sidearm to first. And again, Mark Reynolds, it's not an easy play when you got the runner coming right down, bearing down on you.
Here's Stanton with that extreme close stance now. And the curveball locked him up. Giancarlo hit a bullet his last time up for a base hit. Here's Gordon.
Boy, he can motor.
Stanton has been some kind of hot. 6 home runs in his last 8 ball games. He's got 18 in his last 30 games. He's got another one right here. A 3-2 ball game, his 40th home run of the year. And I cannot tell you how hard that ball was hit. I mean, it was out of here in a flash.
Well, Spilly was breaking down some of the exit velocities for Giancarlo in our open. Also how he closed off his swing. Well, that was a backup slider. And he knew it immediately. There's not much load going on, but when you're as strong as Stanton is, it creates so much torque, you don't need a whole lot of load. And you're talking about the 6 home runs in the last 8 or 9 ball games for Stanton, make that 7. The Phillies, as a team, only have 4 home runs during that time.
.111 miles an hour off the bat. That was the exit velocity. He went an estimated 433 feet. At a launch angle of 21 degrees. That's a line drive.
That's a low launch angle.
Very low. Yelich with a 1-1 count. Now a 1-2 count. Johnson's got to dismiss it. It's a solo home run. The Rockies are still in front.
You say 433 feet?
433. That's lined to deep left. That's going to be extra bases. Tying run at second now with 1 out in the 6th.
Yelich was a strikeout, easy ground ball, 4-3 in his second at bat. Now a couple pitches for John that haven't been located like they were earlier. And Yelich takes it the other way. And I mentioned just a moment ago how the batting average climbs up the third time through the order against John up to 360, and that's part of the reason why you see the numbers where they are. The first four innings for John, and then 5 innings on.
And the other issue for him, again, early in his career, is that 1 inning. Can he put down that 1 inning and not let an inning turn into a crooked number? Here's Osuna, and that's off of Lucroy, and now you have to bring the infield in. You don't have to, but generally the thinking is to do that. 6th inning, protect that 1-run lead.
Well, and this is so far in the other batter's box that Jonathan tries to slide over and scoop it and at least block it. He thought he had it momentarily, but then it scoots away from him.
A lot of pitching coaches say when things get tough, don't try harder, try easier. He tried harder on that pitch, overamped the slider. 2-0. Your natural instincts are.
It is.
All right, man, I gotta
go
here.
I gotta go harder. I think we saw it the other day with Antonio, how he backed off when he had some traffic going on. Remember, he had 2nd and 3rd in the 4th inning, got a strikeout, an easy pop up and a strikeout on Wednesday.
Osuna's 2 for 2, 2 singles. Good slider, 2-1.
That one he threw with the proper mechanics. It was just at the end with the wrist to throw the slider.
Osuna started in the All-Star game in this stadium, and that's a great pitch. Not called a strike. 3-1.
Well, again, on the Subaru strike zone, should have been. I mean, you dart the fastball there, you should be rewarded. That's a strike.
Postage stamp almost every night.
He went.
I always think, Huey, and I think you concur, it's hard to get a good hitter. A good hitter is the qualification in that statement. With the same pitch twice. If you're thinking, all right, go back to that slider right there.
Yeah, the one place you do not want to throw Osuna is inside, though. You got to stay away from him.
Did he go? Nope. He went with the same pitch, and he got almost the same result as his previous pitch. Instead, it's a walk. 1st and 3rd. And Real Muto coming up. Rockies with an out in the inning.
Well, Steve Foster coming out just to slow things down.
It's the first walk allowed tonight. Then 8 hits against Gray. Rockies have Mike Dunn up.
Well, the first 10,000 fans on Saturday, August 19th, will receive a Nolan Arenado bobblehead courtesy of Breaks Plus. There's some bobbleheads. And those are here in the building in Miami, the Bobblehead Museum. We got JT Realmuto as a tough man to double up. Forget that he's a catcher. You need one of those hard hit balls like they got earlier from Rojas to flip it over.
He hasn't made contact yet. He's been a strikeout victim twice. John's got to let it all hang out here. If he can get real Muto, you would think that Buddy may go bring in Mike Dunn to face Dietrich. First things first, 1st and 3rd. Rockies up 3-2. Couple of Okies doing battle here.
Well, the pitch we haven't seen in the last couple innings is a curveball.
And that's a fastball slider.
Yeah, and that's a little bit harder pitch to throw when you're amped up, when you're thinking, oh, I've got to do. But I also think sometimes it's a good one to throw because it backs you off mentally.
Fastball in. Two and one. John threw fastballs 75% of the time in his last outing against Philadelphia. He's been a little below 60% typically in a game. And today I'm guessing it's in that neighborhood. He's spun quite a few sliders tonight. Here comes another one. That ball swatted to deep center field. Charlie going back, reaches up, makes the catch. Coming home with the tying run is Yelich. Three.
Charlie had to get on his horse to go get this one. A great break on it. JT put a charge into it. And Charlie timed his leap perfectly to keep that from going over his head and just a sac fly.
Home run, double, walk, sac fly. Derek Dietrich 1 for 2 at the plate. Offensively, the good news for the Rockies is John Gray has come to bat 3 times and he's made the last out in the inning 3 times, which means the Rockies will have the top of the order again when we turn the page to the 7th.
Well, Ozuna is the one that caused the balk in the 2nd inning where he just took off. And that's why you're getting 2 throwovers for a guy that has not stolen a base this year.
Dietrich in his career has attempted only 18 stolen bases, and he has 10 stolen. Ozuna, did I say Dietrich? I'm sorry. Ozuna has attempted only 18 stolen bases, 10 out of 18. Not that you want to fall completely asleep on him because of what he did earlier. 0-1 on Dietrich. 1-1. Dietrich out of Georgia Tech.
Teammates of Charlie Blackmon, roommates.
Charlie's got a few years on Dietrich. 2-1. Only one true 1-2-3 inning. That was the first. In the fourth, he faced only 3 hitters. That's because Ozuna, who had a pop single, was thrown out going to second. John's allowed at least 1 hit in every inning, with the exception of that first. 3 runs, 8 hits, no errors for Miami. They're a terrific defensive team, as are the Rockies. You know that.
Yeah, you got the 2 best defensive teams in the National League and the top 3 in all of baseball. Only Kansas City's higher for either one of these teams.
Yep, fielding percentage. 3 runs, 6 hits for Colorado. 2-2 on Dietrich.
Mike Dunn's still up, and Tomas on deck, a switch hitter, but hitting right-handed this year. He's 0 for 10. I think this Dietrich reaches. This might be it for John. Hopefully that's not the case, and he can finish him here and go to the top of the 7th. Still tied.
And he lost him. Another borderline pitch. Now tying run in scoring position. And here comes Buddy. And that 1 inning keeps getting John Gray. Just can't seem to work his way through it. The former Marlin Mike Dunn when we come back in a 3-3 affair.
With a couple runners on. If fans, drop off any new or gently used children's book at your neighborhood UPS store between August 14th and September 2nd and receive 2 complimentary Rockies tickets to a select game in September while supplies last. The new pitcher is the former Marlin Mike Dunn, working on a scoreless streak of 3 2/3 in the Cleveland series. Couple appearances scoreless, 14 out of the 15 to be exact. And at Marlins ballpark has a career ERA of 3.60. As I mentioned, Tomas hitting right-handed, who's 0 for 10 on the year.
Well, you know, Mike's going to be a little extra fired up for this appearance. Returning to Miami for the first time. His first pitch misses, ball 1. Spent 6 years here in a Marlins uniform. Mike originally came up with the Yankees. Moved on to Atlanta. Debuted 2011 with the Marlins. He pitched in the old park and the new park. Here's the 1-0. Done last year, made 51 appearances, went 6-1 for the Marlins. Year before, he struck out 65 in 54 innings, 67 in 57 innings the year before that. That bounces up there, 2-1. Three, runners at first and second with 2 outs. Center field, and Charlie going back will have a play. In the inning, a home run from Giancarlo Stanton, then Yelich doubled. He would eventually score on a sac fly by JT Realmuto. Tied at 3. Back on this one, it's been about the long ball. 2-run home run gave the Rockies a 2-0 lead. Nolan with 100 RBIs. And Parr made it 3-1 on this home run over the 392 mark. Stanton would make it 3-2 with a blistering home run of 433 feet last inning, and then a Yelich double. Eventually he would score on a sac fly. So we're tied at 3 going to the 7th. It'll be about the bullpens, and the Rockies will have Blackmon, LeMahieu, Arenado against Dustin McGowan, who got the final couple of outs of the 6th inning. Rockies have had opportunities to add on in this game. Bottom of the order has failed to come through. Lucroy in the 7th spot's been on 3 times.
Rockies 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
And in fairness, a couple of those times, actually 3, with 2 outs, the game found John Gray, who's typically not paid to drive in runs. Let's talk about a leadoff guy setting the table. It's unusual, though, for a leadoff guy to lead off probably more than once a game, maybe twice. This is the 4th time today that Blackmon has led off an inning.
Good thing he has a lot of practice in his career doing that.
Yeah, he's good at it. This is Yorlin Garcia, the only lefty for the Marlins. McGowan misses, 2-2. Last 4 ball games, the starting pitcher for the Rockies has really pitched well. Only 4 runs allowed over the last 25 innings in those 4 starts. Gray goes 5 2/3, allows 3 runs. Charlie working the count again. He's walked already in this game. Walked, doubled, and struck out looking on a 3-2 pitch. And Charlie walks to lead off the 7th.
That's just like the walk he had in the first inning where he's behind and then he coaxes a walk, and now he got some action at first base.
Blackmon's on base percentage close to .390. Actually, it's eclipsed the .390 mark with his game tonight, which is tremendous, like every other stat he has.
DJ might try to drop a bunt down for a base hit.
Got a guy who's not real familiar with first base in Talise. Strike called on LeMahieu.
Yeah, he tried to hit and run in the first inning, and then DJ hit a laser of a line drive to right field in the 5th.
That was against Jose Urena. And this is a double play ball. Two outs. That'll bring up Nolan.
It's the 15th double play DJ has hit into this year.
And the only guy who's hit into more on the Rockies is the guy at the plate. Nolan has hit into 17. Two-run home run in the 3rd, 1 for 3 tonight for Arenado. Nolan 2 for 6 on Wednesday in Cleveland. Been a string of tight ball games that the Rockies have been involved in. In fact, they broke a string of 19 straight losses on Wednesday in games where they scored 3 runs or less. It's their 9th victory, though, this year when they scored 3 or less.
Tells you a little bit about the pitching this year compared to some other years.
It'd be hard a lot of years to win anywhere close to that, scoring 3 or less. 3-0 on Nolan with Parra on deck.
He wasn't going to give in with the fastball. I saw what he did with the fastball in the 3rd inning. They're going to throw him a slider. A little saying, if you throw a 3-1, you kind of expect to see it again on 3-2, and that's the sign that was put down.
And a 2-out walk. Second in the inning. I'll give Parr a chance. Maybe. We'll see if Mattingly comes out.
He keeps waiting, and now he's finally making his way to the top of the dugout steps.
Yeah, he's going to pick his spot to use Garcia.
Well, they just sent Hunter Cervenka, their other left-hander, down. So for Don, this is what he has to do here.
3-3. Nolan on, 2 outs. Parr coming up. Garcia coming in.
Florida Rockies, Marlins all knotted up at 3 apiece. Hey, Bark at the Park presented by Avoderm and Nylabone is Wednesday, August 16th. The event includes a pregame parade on the field with your dog, plus goodies. Special tickets in the dog zone are required and must be pre-purchased. Marlene Garcia, the lone left-hander out in the bullpen. 50 appearances on the year. That leads the Marlins. First time the Rockies are going to have a chance to see Garcia. Lefty's hitting 192, right-handers 232. And for Garcia, fastball 94, changeup about 87, and a slider around 85.
Parr, a home run his last at bat. He takes strike one. 1 for 3 tonight. Got Nolan at first. He's having a great game. Couple outfield assists to boot. This one is all on the bullpens. Jose Urena goes 5 1/3 for Miami. 3 runs, 5 hits, a walk, 3 strikeouts. He hit Jonathan Lucroy twice. John Gray went 5 2/3, 3 runs, 8 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts.
Well, and everybody too for the Rockies is back in play after the day off. Even Chris Russell, who threw 2 1/3, he only threw 22 pitches.
That was a big day to get through with a W. That Wednesday, the Rockies bullpen was thinned out to begin with, and then you play 12 innings. I think the only guy after Chadwood was Zach Rosscup the other night.
Yes, it was.
The other day. Chadwood was the closer and the long man in extras, right?
I like the closer part of it. That's what he did. Save number 1 this year, number 2 in his career.
The other save came in his second ball game as a Rocky. In a blowout win, the Rockies won 17-8, and he pitched the final 3 innings, and you get a save by rule if you go 3 innings. The last 3 innings in a victory. But Chatty did a great job, man. Pounded the zone. Quick and efficient.
Threw only 11 pitches, 9 for strikes.
And he had to get the top of the orders. Kipnis, Lindor, and Jose Ramirez. Those guys are slouches. Parra.
I think it hit the ground.
The foul tip, exactly. That's what Jerry Davis indicated, that Realmuto's trying to run off, saying he caught it. This is not reviewable.
No. I mean, the only thing he could do would be to ask one of his crewmates, and that's not going to happen. Subaru Supermo will give us a better visual. Okay, so there's the foul tip.
They have an argument.
They do, but it can't, as you said, it can't be reviewed.
Rockies catch a break. There goes Nolan, and he is cut down pretty easily, even though Realmuto's throw hit the dirt. That'll end the inning. Middle of 7. We stretch in Miami. The Rockies 3 and the Marlins 3. Colorado Rockies baseball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Say yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. And by the Wyoming Office of Tourism, Wyoming is full of adventure. It's time to find out if you are too. That's why. TravelWyoming.com. Well, the Rockies all week have been involved in these tight games as you roll through South Beach. Mike Dunn knows these parts exceptionally well, has strike 1 on Miguel Rojas. Here, Rojas and a pinch hitter, and D. Gordon here in the bottom of the 7th for Miami. 3 apiece.
And the one thing that does come out of this with Nolan getting thrown out at second base, he really ruined the left-hander for Don Mattingly, because he's got a pinch hit now for his only lefty, and so Gerardo will lead off next inning against the righty.
That's absolutely true. This ball lined to left. Parra saw it the whole way. So it's a loud first out off the bat of Rojas. And that will bring up Tyler Moore. Tyler Moore will probably, no guarantee, but probably stay in the ballgame at first base. He's the better defensive first baseman than Tomas Talis, who's kind of playing out of position. They're waiting for Justin Moore to get back. Here's big first baseman. He's got an oblique strain.
And you can see how he would get one as hard as he swings.
When he connects, the ball goes really far. Moore 21 home runs this year in 87 games. So he was on a pace to perhaps hit 40.
Moore 9 for 36 as a pinch hitter. Home run, 7 RBIs.
The guy they use more than any other to pinch hit is the 43-year-old future Hall of Famer Ichiro.
The ageless wonder.
He had a 3-hit ball game earlier this week. That pitch called down. 2-1. Hopefully Mike gets Tyler Moore, then D. Gordon on deck. If it gets to Stanton, probably see the Rockies make a move. And Mike loses Tyler Moore, so with 1 out, he goes down to first. Stanton looming large on deck.
And that's an understatement. Pat Neshek in the Rockies bullpen.
Done a strike on his former teammate. 0-1.
Because they're former teammates, first time they've matched up in the big leagues against each other.
I got a shocker for you. Here's the 0-1. Fouled off. Do you think D. Gordon's grounded into a double play this year?
Well, probably since you said it's a shocker, I'll have to say yes without looking at the stats.
How many?
2.
6. That's a shocker.
Yeah, it is.
Though I suppose he hits a lot of balls on the ground. And if he hits it hard right at somebody. Oh, 2.
D268 against left-handed pitching on the season. Over 300 versus the righty.
Right field, Cargo. And that's the second out. So now Stanton will come up with Moore at first base. And here comes Buddy. Neshek next. The club, a special edition this Sunday after the Rockies and Marlins from down here in South Florida. Tracy Ringolsby will look back on the life of his close friend and the first manager in Rockies history, Don Baylor. And while in Cleveland, John Gray visited the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Ian Desmond talks about one of his biggest influences, the Hall of Famer Frank Robinson. We'll have those stories and others on the club Sunday after the Toyota postgame show. Pat Neshek is on to face Giancarlo Stanton, 2 for 3 in the game, including a long home run in his last at bat, the 18th time he's hit a home run against the Rockies. 3-3, and Neshek almost threw onto the backstop.
Well, this is why you got him for these situations. A tough lefty late in the ball, or excuse me, tough righty late in the ball game. Stanton 0 for 2 career against Pat.
And I think Pat would be the first to say he hasn't been particularly sharp yet in a Rockies uniform, but he's a guy that certainly can get on a roll. He was on a roll with Philadelphia. All-Star this year and All-Star 3 years ago with St. Louis. Stanton's 0 for 2 against him. 1 ball, 1 strike.
We didn't see that pitch in that swing. And it showed it.
One ball, 2 strikes.
Throw it again, because it's been 2 sliders to Stanton.
That backed up.
Yeah, he's been lucky on that one. It will indeed be another slider.
Junichi Tazawa is going to be in the ball game apparently next for Miami. And that too is fouled off. A 132 average with a count of 1-2. Don't worry, Giancarlo, you have company with a lot of guys don't hit 1 and 2. Another 1-2. Good pitch. Strike 3 at the knees. So Neshek comes in and freezes Stanton with Moore at first. We move to the 8th, tied at 3. Here's our Kubota pitching performance. This one will be about the bullpens tonight. John Gray, 5 2/3, 3 runs, 8 hits. And Urania goes 5 1/3. He gave up 3 runs on 6 hits. Top of the 8th inning, the Rockies will have Gerardo Parra, Mark Reynolds, and Carlos Gonzalez. Junichi Tozawa
took the loss yesterday in Washington, an inning, 2 hits, 1 earned run. He gave up that home run yesterday. 3 career games against the Rockies, 2 1/3, giving up 1 run. Fastball, slider, and a splitter. Gerardo was up to the plate when Nolan was caught stealing back in the 7th.
And Gerardo takes a strike, get a home run to right center in the 6th inning to give the Rockies a 3-1 lead at the time. But John, in the bottom half of the inning, would give up 2, including a home run to Stanton.
That was a split finger second pitch to Gerardo. Where did the... Not sure what's going on here.
I have no idea what this is about.
No.
We'll let you have time to get him ready if it takes more than
Trying to overhear the conversation. I'm not sure what what the issue was. Jerry Davis seems content.
Ground ball. Dietrich dives. Got to get to his feet, and he does, and throws out Parra. Good play by Derek Dietrich.
Off the bat, I thought that was going to the shortstop Rojas, and then diving strong to his left. He was playing well off the line. Reaches the Subaru Supermo, comes up, sidearm fling over to first to get Gerardo by a step.
Mark Reynolds has the most experience against Tazawa. He's 1 for 4. Breaking ball for a strike. Mark a single back in the second inning. 1 for 3 tonight.
Like a lot of guys from the Far East with that hesitation, the leg kick comes up, pauses, trying to disrupt some timing.
Here's the 0-2. 1-2. Ball was left up. 2 outs.
Hey, Air Force Academy fans, come watch the Rockies take on the Milwaukee Brewers on Sunday, August 28th. You can purchase a special ticket package to receive a limited edition Air Force Falcons themed Rockies hat.
Cargo base hit in his last at bat. 1 for 3 tonight. One and one on Carlos.
First time he's seen Tazawa in his career.
He works into that splitter count. 1-2.
That's what he just got too.
Jake McGee throwing for the Rockies.
Ooh, good pass on that one.
Yeah, and that's a pitch he likes. Up, out over the plate.
Leg kick, get the foot down. Fouled it straight back. Might have been just a little tardy on that one.
That'll end the inning. A 1-2-3 inning for Tazawa. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Yelich will lead it off. Jake McGee coming in for the Rockies. 3 as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Christian Yelich, Marcell Ozuna, and JT Realmuto. Who Wants Tacos fans, follow us at AT&T Sportsnet RM on Twitter to receive alerts for the Rockies taco special when the Rockies do score 7 or more in any ball game. Jake McGee completing his warm-up pitches. He came off the disabled list last Sunday. He was on the list with a mid-back strain. He pitched an inning and a third the other day. Struck out 2. Did not allow a run or a hit. That was his first appearance since coming off the disabled list.
Yeah, probably a little rusty. The first batter he faced, and Bradley Zimmer, he hit him with a pitch, but then got Brandon Guyer, then struck out, as you said, a couple different guys, Perez and Kipnis, and an easy fly ball from Lindor. It's nice to have Jake back in play with Mike and Pat. Of course, closing it out, Greg, it makes your bullpen that much stronger. A couple tough left-handers out there.
Yelich takes high, ball 1.
Yelich hitting .275 versus left-handed pitching on the season. 3 home runs. It's 30 for 109.
Pretty even splits, .279 against righties, and there's a base hit. Now to bring up Ozuna. 2 singles and a walk tonight for Marcell.
Ozuna, a very aggressive hitter. Almost half the time he likes to be hacking at that first pitch.
Yelich is a guy you have to keep an eye on. He can run also.
10 for 11 stealing bases.
Got to stop his feet.
It's just like somebody out at second base. You don't want him to get a walking lead. You know, if you don't stop them, then they just keep going. I think especially too with the left-hander on the hill, you have to do that because a lot of times when you do it, it's just you're stealing on first movement. You got the momentum.
Jake ahead 1-2. Ozuna goes about 230 or so. That's a terrific block by Jonathan Lucroy.
So smooth back there doing that.
You know, so far with Lucroy behind the plate, the Rockies pitching staff has fashioned a .340 ERA.
Well, this is textbook. And yet the other problem that you have too when that ball's going down into a right-handed hitter, you got to worry about the feet and trying to pick the ball up and, you know, slide over at the same time.
You know, the catcher ERAs, which gives you a little window into things, not, you know, across the board, slam the gavel down, you know.
Case dismissed.
Right. I mean, you know, sometimes guys catch a guy who has a bad day and gives up a lot of runs. But Lucroy 340, Garneau, who's no longer with the Rockies organization, 364, Hannigan 393. Those are the top three. 2-2. Where is that?
That's the first time we've seen Jonathan really get upset. I mean, that's a strike on the Subaru strike zone.
Remember the conversation in the offseason that the league wanted to move the strike zone up from the hollow of the knee to more the top of the knee? I don't get that. How are you going to have faster games if that is what you want? You know what you're going to get? You're just going to get even more offense, which, you know, maybe that's certainly what baseball wants. But that's a great pitch, and now you end up walking Osuna. Now there's 2 on, nobody out.
Oh, I see what they're doing now. They're working on the bullpen phone. So remember that discussion that they had earlier last half inning? It was, this isn't working, so when he comes in, that just in case, that Jake was going to have all the time he needed to get loose.
Do you, if you're Donnie Mattingly, you have your 5-hole hitter up, JT Realmuto, who's just under 300 hitter, 13 home runs.
Yes.
8th inning, you still have bunt.
Yeah, I got to put a guy 90 feet away from home, and I think that's what they were discussing. A lot easier to score from third with 1 out than it is, you know, at second.
Story trying to keep Yelich close. He's swinging. He lines it to deep left, and the Rockies catch a break.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my point. As I'm going to put the pressure on the defense. They didn't. He lines out, and now you're 1 pitch away from a double play, ending the inning. That's why I play it. I know he's a 5th place hitter, and you got left on left. I get all of that, but it worked out. I'm glad he didn't put the bunt on.
Dietrich's 1 for 2 and a walk. Ottavino. One strike count on Derek Dietrich. Big Jake at Reno, Nevada. Two strikes. That misses 1 and 2.
I like what Trevor's doing out at second base too with Christian Yelich. He's making sure he doesn't get too far off there. So he'll sneak up behind, kind of shuffle his feet, talking, whispering. He might even yell. What I like to used to do is yell it back to the guy, so he just hears that, and he might stop his forward momentum.
Two and 2. Center field shallow. Charlie coming is not going to get there. Yelich will score. Yelich read it the whole way. 4-3 Miami.
2 strikes on Dietrich. Inner third. I mean, this is just in no man's land, and Yelich knows where that was hit. He turns it on and puts the Marlins ahead 4-3.
Tomas Talise at the plate. He is 1 for 3. Go back to that. Yeah, you have to overcome adversity. You go back to that pitch where Jake thought he had struck out Osuna on a 2-2 pitch. Instead, it goes to 3-2. He misses again. Now, again, you have to overcome whatever happens on the field.
But that moved Christian into scoring position.
That moved Yelich to second. First and second. Got the lineup by Realmuto. Got ahead of Dietrich. 0-2. Couldn't put him away. Now the Rockies in the bottom of the 8th, down a run. In a game they led 2-0 and 3-1. 4 runs, 10 hits now for Miami. Rockies 3-6-0.
They'll get a guy that they've seen quite often in Brad Ziegler, the closer now for Miami.
Well, A.J. Ramos was their closer. He got traded to the Mets for a pitching prospect. Again, Jonathan Lucroy is kind of flabbergasted. That wasn't called a strike. You just tell by his reaction. May have been a tad down and in. The other 2 pitches were there, but it's a 2-1 count. Rockies have the lower third of their lineup due up. Talise unloads. This is to left center field, and this is going to score at least 1, if not 2. Dietrich around third. He'll score. It's going to be a triple for Talise, and it is 6-3 Miami. Talise with his first hit right-handed this year.
Just his 5th RBI on the season. Down, Talise goes and gets it, hits it into the gap. And with Dietrich's speed, he's going to score all the way from first base, and that'll be it for Mike Dunn. I mean, Jake McGee, excuse me.
Six to 3. Marlins have moved out in front by 3. 2-run triple. Batting right-handed, he came in 0 for 10 right-handed, and he lines a triple in deep left center field. It's 6-3 Miami. Adam Ottavino will be charged with getting the final couple outs here in the 8th.
Well, Otto's career against Miami, 15 innings pitched, giving up just 2 earned runs, 22 strikeouts. Rockies will have to play the infield in.
Can't fall behind by any more. Miguel Rojas is at the plate. Ichiro's on deck. Squeeze. And Lucroy makes the play.
Why was it foul?
Ball's out in front of the plate.
Why was it foul?
That's what Buddy wants to know.
Yeah.
That ball was fielded in front of the plate. Unless it hit him while he was in the box. Maybe it did and we didn't see that. Or did it hit the bat?
Might have hit the bat twice. Oh, it did. Okay, it hit the bat twice. That's what it was while he was still in the box. That's why it's a foul ball.
Yeah, that's a nasty slider. 1-2. Got to get a strikeout here if you can. Rojas fouls it off. Just in case, Zach Rosscup is up. Rojas was part of the D. Gordon trade from the Dodgers. Seems like a while ago, doesn't it?
Well, it does too. And Rojas, when they were together there, he used to go over and pick up D. Gordon after, late in the ball game, because he always had the good hands. He was a defensive player. Then when the Marlins got D, they flipped him over to the second base side, and I think he's a lot more comfortable there.
Much better player playing second base than he was as a shortstop, talking about Gordon. 2-2.
They traded Adeiny Echeverria away to the Rays to kind of allow Rojas, JT Riddle to play shortstop. Riddle had shoulder surgery today. The other bright shortstop for the Marlins.
And Rojas done a good job. He had a right thumb fracture. He missed more than 2 months. Swung on and missed. Fastball gets him at 95. 2 outs. And here comes Ichiro. Well, the last time the Rockies saw Ichiro, this is what they witnessed. Off of Chris Russin. It's a hit number 3,000.
Maybe you and I call, partner.
Of course, he had, what do you have, over 1,200 hits in Japan?
Yes.
Ichiro at 30-64. Beltre recently moved past 3,000. That immortalizes you in baseball circles.
Still won't get you elected the first ballot, but maybe the second one. Or not unanimous, I should say. Sometimes now it's first ballot.
Ichiro will go in first ballot. And Beltre ought to go in first ballot.
Yeah, but not unanimous is what I'm saying.
There's only been one unanimous. That was recently when Ken Griffey Jr. That's a strike, 2-1.
Ichiro this year, 18 for 67 as a pinch hitter.
Got a lot of opportunities. Said earlier he had a 3-hit game in Washington. Two and two on Ichiro. Outside, 3-2. $1,278 hits in Japan. "43 years old. And Ottavino gets both hitters he faces, but the inning started at 3-3. It's now 6-3 Miami. Rockies need a significant rally. They'll have Jonathan Lucroy, Trevor Story, and then a pinch hitter against Brad Ziegler, who's taken over the closing role since A.J. Ramos moved to Queens. I want to point something out. You know what? I said that Ken Griffey Jr. was unanimous. He wasn't even unanimous. He just now has the highest percentage. It used to be Tom Seaver. 3 people inexplicably didn't vote for him.
That's what I mean.
On the first ballot.
But now it's going to be up to the Rockies to stage a little comeback against Ziegler, who was just reinstated from the DL a few days ago. Rockies remember him from his time in Arizona. 39 ball games to be exact facing the Rockies.
a changeup.
Well, the thing too is Ziegler, he's not your overpowering closer. He pitches to contact, and so that's a little bit easier to get after if you get some hits.
That's down low, 2-1.
Meaning that, you know, you don't necessarily have to hit the ball hard against him, or your approach is so much different from a guy that throws 98. Get a few seeing eye base hits, and then you bring the tying run to the plate.
And it's 3-1. And a little comebacker. Here's a look at the matchup tomorrow evening here in Miami. The Rockies will have Jeff Hoffman on the mound, coming off a really good performance against the Phillies. And it was announced earlier today that left-hander Justin Nicolino will be called up, and he actually was added today to the big league roster. His last start was back in June against the Cubs. He comes up from New Orleans. Bottom of the zone, called a strike, 0-1 on Story. 2 strikeouts and a ground ball to third. How did that one miss him?
I'm still perplexed. Let's go behind him. Yes, it did. I see Maurice on the on-deck circle now.
This could be a tough play for Dietrich. Safe. An infield hit.
Well, that's what Trevor Speed will do. Put it in play. Not a hard hit. Dietrich made a heck of an effort to come in and barehand this ball. Make a throw that was dug out at first base. Yeah, but it was the right call by Andy Fletcher.
And if you're wondering why Amarista here and not Ryan McMahon, given his major league debut, if it was a situation where a home run would tie the ball game, you'd see Ryan McMahon from the left side against a guy who should be a little tougher on righties with his delivery. Pat Valleca is obviously your chief pinch hitter.
Actually has not had any success against Ziegler. 0 for 10. Time to break that and change that now.
Pat. Story took off.
There was a hole on the left side of the infield with Rojas covering. I think they probably would change it up now if you're the Marlins, where you just eat it if he takes off, not to create a hole.
Strike 3 on Amarista. And I've never seen Alexi do that. He's upset with Jerry Davis on a pitch he thought was away.
Twice. Once Charlie was not happy in the 5th inning. Yeah, that ball's I mean, when it starts to get above the mask of the catcher, I don't think Realmuto even thought that that was going to be called a strike. The way he caught it, just tossing it casually back to the pitcher.
I'm with you. I don't think he thought it was a strike. See Buddy Black's reaction in the background. 2 outs, Blackman at the plate. Now Story moves up. Charlie tonight, a walk, a double. Caught looking at what he thought was ball 4, and then another walk. So he's been on 3 times. Third highest batting average in the big leagues at 333, and that's a nice pickup by Rojas. That'll end the ball game. Disappointing night for the Rockies. They took a 2-0 lead. They had a 3-1 lead, and they could not hold it. The final score: Miami wins it tonight 6-3, drops the Rockies to 65-50 on the season. Miami is 54-60. Our Jimmy John's delivery of the game, Derek Dietrich with a base hit, soft one, but it dropped to score the go-ahead run, Christian Yelich, and then there was a triple behind that by Tomas Taliste.